For the first point in introduction is halal product and food are Islamic good and food they are allowed and accepted according to Sharia, the Islamic law. Means the Zabiha. For the example, Zabiha will teach you from A to Z in the process slaughtered the animals. The second point is halal food is required for Muslim to eat because it is seen as healthy for the body and soul. Everything that Islam says must be a good reason. You can see at the right MS 1480 2007. This is the code for guarantee the food is good for the users. The second, hazard analysis critical control points. This organization will protect and give the persuasion to the users use that product. And HACCP had recognized it from the Malaysian Ministry of Health. And the last point is cross-contamination. It's a major problem in halalan toiban as it can lead to disease. This problem can occur from the aspect of transposition or processing. For example, the beef and the pork in a store in the same place. For the solution, we have the Jakim to get the halal certification.
My name is Ahmad Ajmi bin Muhammad Nasir and my matric number is 292635. Moving to the next part, which is overview of the issue. In Malaysia, a country where the majority of the population is Muslim, maintaining the halal integrity of food is important because eating halal is a religious and cultural imperative for Muslims. Maintaining the halal integrity of Malaysia's food supply chain is significantly affected by the problem of food contamination, which may erode customer confidence and adversely affect the country's halal industry. Cross-contamination can happen during processing, careless handling, using ingredients from unreliable sources and failing to comply with halal certification regulations. During processing, halal food may be cross-contaminated. When non-halal ingredients or impurities are introduced into a halal product during its processing, this is referred to as cross-contamination. This can happen if non-halal products are not adequately cleaned or separated from the halal production area when using equipment, utensils or surfaces. There is a possibility of cross-contamination. For example, if the same cutting board is used for both halal and non-halal meat without adequate cleaning in between. Contamination of halal food may also be caused by improper handling. This can happen when people who are not trained in halal practices handle halal food products without following proper sanitation and hygiene procedures. The risk of contamination increase. For example, if workers who have handled non-halal products or materials neglect to wash their hands completely before handling halal food. Additionally, an unreliable source for ingredients. Halal integrity in food products is highly dependent on the origin of the ingredients. Contamination may occur if the source of the material is not fully verified. These things will happen when the vendor is unable to inform about the existence of non-halal materials or fails to show a halal certification for each product they produce. Therefore, without the proper verification, non-halal ingredients are likely to be included in halal food and cause halal food contamination. One of the main causes of halal food contamination in Malaysia is the difficulty of the food supply chain. As food manufacturing becomes more industrialized and globalized, with ingredients coming from many places, determining the halal status for each ingredient is becoming increasingly difficult. Due to the complexity, there is a high probability of accidental or intentional contamination at different points along to the supply chain, making it challenging to identify and address potential problems efficiently.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Rizal Naim bin Muhammad Hashim. My matric number is 292769. There are 4 categories in this legal discussion, which is first, Halal Certification Act, second is Malaysian Standard, third is Trade Description Act, And lastly is the Food Act 1983. I will go through one by one, which is starting with Halal Certification Act. The legal basis for the establishment of a Halal certification body and the Halal certification process is provided under the Halal Certification Act 2011. Sharia regulation and the also 2011 Halal Certification Act must be complied with by all the halal certified products. Next, the Food Act 1983. The sale and processing of food products in Malaysia is regulated and monitored by the Food Act 1983. According to the Act, all food products must be safe or high caliber and labeled accordingly. Halal requirement for food products can be enforced through this law and any violation will be dealt with. The third one is the Trade Description Act 2011. All products sold in Malaysia are required to have an accurate description and label under the Trade Description Act 2011. Clear labeling for foods item with halal certification can be established using this act. This act shows how important halal arrangements are. Finally is the Malaysian Standard 1500/2009. The purpose of the Malaysian Standard is to certify that the organisation has complied with the specifications set out in the standard for the production, preparation, handling and the storage of halal food. This will be done through site inspection deemed necessary by the authorized authority. Halal standards for the food products are outlined in the Malaysian Standard, including the permitted use of halal ingredients in preparation and handling. This standard can be used as a guide by halal certification organisation and food companies to comply with the necessary halal requirement.
Assalamualaikum, my name is Muhammad Hakim Basmanuddin. Today I will explain to you the challenges in implementing halal food contamination law in Malaysia. The first is lack of awareness and understanding. Obstacles in implementing halal food contamination regulation in Malaysia is because knowledge about halal product standard and the importance of the complying with those standards among businessmen is still low. For example, an organization may not realize that in their handling of halal food there is contaminating occurring. Lack of understanding about matter related to halal and haram will also cause consumer to lose faith in halal certification process. This will have a negative impact for all sectors. Second is lack of transparency. Transparency we can describe as the use of ingredients that are not clear whether they are halal or not. In processing is very dangerous for consumers. This is because there are factories that mix in the ingredients that are not halal when doing process producing food. So this unclear ingredient will make it difficult for them to comply with the halal law and avoid cross contamination. And for the last is corruption. Corruption means even if the good do not match the requirement, official can provide halal certificate to companies run by friends or family members. Corruption has a negative effect because it will certainly make it challenging for consumer to trust organizations that manufacture and distribute halal product.
Assalamualaikum and good evening. My name is Muhammad Faiz bin Shamsul. My matric number is 292679. Today I would like to present about legal discussion, which is challenges in implementing halal food contamination law in Malaysia. So the first challenges is lack of uniformity in halal certification standards. Different certification process due to different organizations and countries in terms of the procedures and rules that need to be followed to obtain a halal certification certificate. This will be a challenges because it is necessary to obtain a halal certification in different ways due to different standards that have been set. For example, in Malaysia we have JAKIM as the main halal association, while in Indonesia we have Majlis Ulama Indonesia or MUI as the main halal association. Therefore, customers will be confused about halal certification and customers will be unclear about the halal certificate. The second one is perception of discrimination. We can see that some parties consider that the need to obtain a halal certification as a form of discrimination because they believe that the matter only gives priority to Muslims. For example, for a meat product, the animal must be slaughtered by a Muslim to be halal. So of course, this will close a chance for non-Muslim to work as a butcher. Next, large number of business. The number of companies involved in the manufacture and distribution of food products makes it difficult to enforce regulations against halal food contamination. They may not have enough employees to inspect every business that have been involved in the production and distribution of halal food. This may cause some parties or organizations to ignore the rules that have been set in the processing of halal products. That's all for me. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum. My name is Muhammad Tarmizi bin Cik Abdul Haziq. My metric number 292575. Today, I will draw a conclusion from our study. In conclusion, the integrity of halal food in Malaysia is an important issue that need to be adequately monitored. This is to combat the issue of halal food contamination that has a negative impact on consumer, especially Muslim consumer. Therefore, each party need to work together in complying with and strengthening existing law related to halal food in addition to establishing cooperation with the government agency involved in halal certification, industry and consumer. This need to be done because it will increase sharing and good relation, and research and development related to halal food can continue to be carried out and improve in order to maintain the quality of halal food at the right level. The abuse of power and the issue of corruption in the process of obtaining halal certificate must be eradicated. This is to maintain quality and increase consumer trust in the halal sector. Thus, by addressing this challenge, the right of Muslim consumer can be protected in addition to having a positive impact on economic growth and the halal industry in this country. That's all from us. Thank you.